Hi, my name is Sam, and for my VFX206 assessment, I decided to recreate the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. The original Skeksis puppet was designed by Jim Henson and Brian Froud. The head of the Skeksis creation team was Lyle Conway. The head of the costumes was Sarah Bradpiece, and many other designers in the team helped create the Skeksis. The Skeksis puppet was operated through cables. The body and head had a fiberglass shell, and the skin was made of latex foam. Each head was cast from a clay sculpt made by Lyle Conway, and the final act of puppeteering the Skeksis was done by 5 skilled actors. My Skeksis was built to be operated by one person. I didn't have fiberglass, so instead I used thin blue foam, and instead of latex foam I used silicone. I first started my clay sculpt with a wire and aluminium foil under base, but that turned out that didn't work because the structure wasn't strong enough to support being sculpted on top of. And I had my heart absolutely set on doing cable blinking, but I couldn't figure it out with the time that I had and the supplies that I had, so unfortunately I could not include that in my puppet. I started my process by making a Skeksis maquette, just to get a feel for clay and what the Skeksis should look like. I then moved on to a larger Skeksis sculpt that I would then use pink sil to cast a silicone mask out of. The Henson company used a Steadicam harness for their Skeksis, but I just used an old bag that I'd been meaning to throw away. I then applied PVC piping into the drink bottle holders to hold up the foam structure that I was building to make the Skeksis mound. The foam that I used was simple upholstery foam. I fixed the Skeksis skin onto the blue foam underbase that I had made for the head. I used ping pong balls for the eyes, and handcrafted some teeth to put in the Skeksis mouth. I also paint over the Skeksis head to give it a more Skeksis look rather than bright pink silicone. I then gave the Skeksis head a turtleneck to hide my arm while I was puppeteering the head. I used a mixture of foam chunks and fabric painting to give the back of the Skeksis the rippled look that the plates have. On top of the red fabric that I used a black fabric underlay and a bit of spray paint on top to make it look a little more worn. For the final Skeksis costume, I wore the backpack and put my head through the opening hole that I had made and would puppet my Skeksis through the fabric sleeve.
I smell your resin, Gelfling. Where are you? Chamberlain is coming for you,